Hello and welcome to Nonny, Yanga's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. Today we look at the representation of black women in reality shows and we discuss the angry black woman stereotype. Joining me today, singer and former X Factor contestant Gifty Louise and presenter Lola Ogunbadejo. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Should have gone to my hairstylist, boy, because damn, you girls are looking good.
Thank
Natural
you.
sisters. The representation of black women in reality television shows often comes under much scrutiny. On one hand, it can be argued that there's a lack of representation of these women, and on the other hand, the women that are selected are often negatively portrayed. This is often an angry or aggressive depiction. This year's Love Island came under fire once again for its lack of diversity in its character choices. Samira Mighty was the only black girl on the show, and fans complained that her journey was barely covered. Unlike the other women, for a long time she failed miserably to find someone who liked her. Gifty was also a victim of these stereotypes following her departure from X Factor in 2016. What was simply an expression of disappointment after being voted off the show was met with thousands of comments dubbing her angry and bitter for losing. Is the media responsible for these continuous portrayals of these stereotypes? Lola, let me ask you, does British reality TV have a diversity problem?
It 100% does have a diversity problem. And if we look at the Love Island example again, it was just really sad because I quite like Samira.
She's so
really
pretty. She's stunning.
Absolutely gorgeous, lovely, bubbly, fun-loving, and you know the way she was treated, the way she was portrayed. I don't think she was portrayed as the angry black woman, but she was portrayed as the unwanted woman, and that's what really, struck a chord with me because I was thinking, when are we ever going to actually get rid of these negative stereotypes that are categorizing black women as these people who are angry, unwanted, silly, stupid, always, doing idiotic things? It's just unfair, and it's
funny,
sad.
isn't it? Because if you look at the Love Island example, she was paired up with this doctor. I can't remember the doctor's name.
Dr. Alex.
Dr. Alex. I can see you're a fan of the show. And it was all about him. Everyone was sympathetic towards him. Yeah. Dr. Alex hasn't found anyone. We've got to find someone for Dr. Alex. But for Samira, that wasn't the case, was it?
I know. And, the fact that she was chosen last. I understand they had to pick, all the guys had to pick people that they were, physically attracted to. And again, I think Samira is absolutely gorgeous. But it just kind of, the fact that she was picked last and she was the only black girl, again, just sort of perpetuated the fact that she's
and let's be fair, the guy who she even ended up leaving the show for, she lost out her opportunity. Yeah. The relationship didn't work, did it? Gifty Louise, hi. So good to see you. Proud of you, my sister.
Thank you.
Getting to the X Factor Live finals in 2016, that is an absolute amazing achievement.
Thank you so much.
Talk to me about your experience. And it's funny, isn't it? Even though there's such a diversity of reality TV shows, there isn't really much diversity in the characters.
Yeah. I personally feel like, coming on the show, like for the process from like the auditions to everything, I saw a lot of black people.
Yeah, you usually do in on
I
stage.
saw a lot of black people, but then actually getting to the 6 chair challenge, I was actually there was 2 black girls actually. Nobody actually got to see the other black girl on TV.
Wow.
And I was the only black girl that was chosen to actually go through to the judges' houses. So, through that, I kind of just automatically knew, okay, cool, they're not going to send me home. They're going to...
Is that how you felt? So you kind of felt that you were the token black. Did you feel it would work in your favour?
Yeah. I kind of just made that work in my favour as in, okay, I'm the only black one here. I know I'm going to make it through because they're not going to send me home.
And you can sing. Most importantly, it was a talent competition.
Yes.
You can sing.
And I just kind of made sure that even though I was already standing out because I was black, I wanted to stand out because I wanted to outshine all the other girls to actually give them a reason to be like,
amazing.
Okay, cool.
Let's fast forward. You actually got to week 4, which is good because now they pick them off like flies, don't they, on these shows? You got through to week 4. Where did the backlash come in, and where did you feel that race was probably one of the reasons why you were facing such a severe backlash from fans?
I feel like the backlash actually came during week 3.
Oh wow!
Because all the other performances I'd done that everyone actually saw, one of the producers actually sat me down and said, "You've been too performy, so we need to show more of a vulnerable side to you." And
okay, too much of this.
And that's the reason why I believe in week 3 I did the Sam Smith Lay Me Down, because they wanted to show the public a softer side to me. And I kind of didn't understand that until coming off the show week 4 and all the backlash I was getting and the...
Give us some examples.
I actually got trolled on Twitter and Instagram for like a whole week. Like racial comments, oh, you should have been grateful, you were black, you made it through that far, you should have been grateful, not a lot of black people. So I should have been
You should have been grateful for your position, not sad and disappointed, that you lost out to somebody that wasn't as talented as you, just in my opinion. But did the show help you? Did you feel like the producers afterwards, you know, was there some support mechanisms there to kind of comfort your like mental emotions?
I mean, there are still some producers from the show who I'm still in contact with.
Good.
During my time in the show, they were very, very supportive and they were very, you know, we want to help you, we want to push you, and we just want to make sure you give your best 100%. Yes. I mean, not everyone's like that, but yeah, some people.
Of course, that's I suppose a good example. But if we're talking about reality TV shows, there are so many different formats, and with talent competitions, black people are just as talented. So you are going to see more black people in those type of shows. But what about reality shows like Made in Chelsea, The Only Way is Essex? I love The Only Way is Essex. Since it started, there have been 177 cast members, and only 3 of those casts have been black. Lola, this is astonishing. I've been to Essex. Barking and Dagenham is still Essex. And I know many a Niger family that's living there. Why are we not being depicted?
Do you know what? I can honestly say I'm not the biggest fan of reality TV. I like competition shows like X Factor, but I'm not like Made in Essex, all that kind of stuff. I'm not really a big fan. But then for me,
you're missing out, girl. No, you're not.
I feel like if I base it on like my mentality, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go on a show like that and be told how to act or be told what to say or be told what to do. I don't know, maybe there's a lot of black people that think the same way, and so they don't really put themselves forward for these kind of
That's quite interesting. So you're saying perhaps maybe they're not even going forward for the casting process.
It's possible.
But then on the flip side, some would say, you know, it's very heterosexual and it's very white up the top in senior levels, so they're only casting people that look like them. Do you think there's some truth in that?
Yeah, I believe taking it back to Love Island, what you were saying about Samira.
Love Island was very blonde.
I mean,
and very booby.
They all looked alike. They all looked the same. So I feel like, I mean, if you watch the show religiously like I do, there was a time when the guy that she actually ended up leaving the show for, when he first came in, I believe Samira said something about, because he had said he liked girls with blonde hair and like
girls like you.
So she had said, you know what, I've got a blonde wig somewhere, let me go put on the blonde wig so you can like me. It was sad. It was sad, the fact that you feel like you need to, as a black woman, and the fact that she wasn't even that dark skin, she still, like, it still affected her. So imagine someone like me going on that show.
Yeah.
I would have been okay.
I think you should be on. I think you should be on there next year and give us the non-exclusive after. Do you think we need to have our own reality TV shows? And I'm not talking just about America because we're flooded with them, but here, Lola.
I think we do, but then it's just like, you know, because at the end of the day, everybody loves a bit of drama and a bit of dysfunction, and because we look at our American counterparts, you know, the shows like Love and Hip Hop and, you know,
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Exactly. Why do people like these shows? Because they're entertaining, and people find them, you know, when they watch them, they're just like, oh, I bet she's going to throw something or she's going to say something. And I was just thinking, if we have that kind of show here, what is that going to do for us as people? We would want to be represented well. I'm not trying to say that they're not doing their thing, you know. If that's how they naturally are, then that's how they naturally are. But I feel like if we were to have a reality TV show here, it could either
do you think it could be quite dangerous?
It could be quite dangerous if we're just doing it for the views, which is most likely why we would do it anyway. So.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Gifty?
Absolutely. I feel like Americans and British people are very, very different. Very, very different. So what the black people in America
How? Yeah.
As in, I mean, I think...
Are we more reserved here?
We're more reserved. So I think the ratchetness that they call it out there, we couldn't do that here. No, it would, like, Daily Mail are going to have our necks, because they love to have our necks. Just, people are not going to understand it. Yes. They won't understand it. And I feel like in America, they have a more larger black base to actually
No,
just
of course. I suppose the black
that.
community are more, they're engraved in the society, aren't they? But do you think it's an issue with black women? Do you think black women in the UK have a tougher time on reality TV show? Gifty, your example. Look at Alexandra Burke. Yeah. Sometimes I find Alexandra Burke annoying, but I love her. But on Strictly, she was trolled for that annoying. Yeah. Stop smiling when you're in front of the judges. Yeah. Stop doing this, stop doing that. Her mum had passed so very recently, and it really affected her, but people were still bashing her. Yeah. But then I suppose with the men, apart from what's going on with Danny at the moment, most of the men that have appeared on Strictly Come Dancing who are black haven't had that same experience.
I feel like, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but I feel like being a black man and being a black woman in the UK or in London or whatever, it's a completely different experience.
Yes.
I feel like I know a lot of black footballers, for example, who attract a lot of, let's say, blonde white girls.
Yes, we've discussed that on the show, the fetishization of the black male.
Those are the type of girls who they're attracted to. Those are the type of guys who those type of girls are attracted to.
Yes.
And I've always, I had this conversation with a couple of my friends the other time, and I was like, why is it that a lot of these black athletes or whatever are not dating black women? Why is it always... But then I had a conversation with another friend of mine who's actually a footballer who's actually dating a white female, and he said, it's good for the image.
Oh, God.
It's good for the image.
Oh, girl. Gifty, you came with the receipts, girl. I think we need to have you on another Nonny, because we've discussed this in great length. And, of course, this is part of the wider discussion, isn't it? But still to come, we discuss the effects of the angry black woman stereotype. See you after the break. Welcome back to Nonny. The stereotype of the angry black woman has dominated society's views of black women for many years. The myth characterises these women as aggressive, ill-tempered, hostile and ignorant without provocation. Emotions of frustration and dismay from black women are often met with people feeling threatened and even scared. The stereotype permeates mainstream culture and everyday life, so much so that black women are constantly overcompensating or second-guessing themselves in a bid to avoid being labelled. In recent years, the angry black woman stereotype hasn't only been reserved for women on reality TV shows, it's also been used as a way to undermine the credibility of black women in positions of power and influence, including Michelle Obama and Serena Williams. In her new memoir, Michelle Obama opens up about how the angry black woman trap dogged her. She notes that being female, black and strong often equates to being labelled as angry. Can the angry black woman narrative ever really be changed? Where shall we start? Do you know what, Lola, let me start with you, because we've kind of had this discussion on Nonny many a time. We haven't talked necessarily about the angry black woman, but she comes into play because this is the reason why some of us feel like we're ostracised, segregated and labelled. But it seems to be that since black women have been oppressed for such a long time, society should be happy that they're not angrier, right?
And you know, I get so, you know, it's getting really tired, and I'm getting really bored of this, you know, angry black woman, because when I think of someone getting angry, I think they've probably been provoked. So there's a reason for them being angry. And there's a saying that, you know, if you have an opinion of someone, it also shows, it's a confession of your character as well. So those who are calling us angry, what about you? Why do you think we are angry? Why don't you question yourself? And then also there's times when the angry black woman narrative is comical. I mean, you look at Medea and the Tyler Perry films, and it's just absolutely hilarious. And then you look at things like Michelle Obama and Serena Williams, and we can see, actually, no, this is a real serious problem. So it's like, sometimes, again, if I use the Medea example, I'm thinking, yes, it is, we're seeing it in a humorous manner, but that's the reality. Should we still be allowing these kind of portrayals in the media? Because people will see and then again say, oh, actually, this is reality, so we can laugh because it actually is true. You know, and then how, when we have these kind of portrayals, even though, again, it's funny, like when we have these kind of portrayals, how are we meant to kind of you know, push ourselves away from it when we have situations like Michelle and Serena.
How do you disassociate yourself, right?
Yes, thanks for helping me out there. But
it's actually really serious. Gifty, do you think you were portrayed as being an angry black woman?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like, obviously, my name being called out, okay, I'm going home, that's fine. But in that present moment, I didn't feel like smiling. In that present moment, I don't feel like smiling because I wasn't in the mood to smile, because I don't feel like I deserve to go home at that moment.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe 1 more week or 2 weeks, but I don't feel like I deserve to go home at that moment.
You were shocked?
I was shocked. So unfortunately, already I have like a resting bitch face, people call it. My face is always straight, and that's not me being angry or upset about anything. It's just my face is naturally straight. So in that moment, I just had no emotions. I was just there like, okay.
That's really interesting. You spoke in the first half and you said that producers told you in week 3 that you should perhaps soften the music. Some would say that you were being produced, although when you've come out of the show, you've realised that actually that wasn't me being produced. They wanted to change the viewer's perception of me by lowering my tone. Yeah. Do you find, Lola, that that's sometimes what black women have to do, especially if you're in a high-powered position? You have to watch how you're talking, just because, you know, people may see you and say that you're really angry. I've had that. I've had people constantly telling me, like, oh, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, fine. I've just had a really busy morning. You know, I don't want to slap you around the face.
And I think, actually, I remember that time. I remember watching it. Now it's come to my memory. And the first thing I thought when I saw that was, you know, she's upset. I didn't think, oh, she's angry, or she just, you know, I just thought she's upset because, you know, again, like, this is typical, right, of the X Factor for the black people to go early. So that's the way I saw it. But I think in society, we're kind of, especially black women, we're meant to be sort of like, we can't vocalize how we feel, otherwise it's always going to be misinterpreted. So if I'm upset, I can't show it because this person's going to see it as angry, or if I'm like frustrated, I can't show it because they're going to classify me as angry. So we're not even allowed to be expressive, we're not allowed to be ourselves, so we're trapped. And of course, if you're trapped and you feel like you can't be yourself, you're going to be frustrated, then someone's going to say something to you, you're going to flip, oh yeah, she's the angry black woman. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Like, kept quiet when Dermot asked me, so how do you feel? I'm just like, I'm fine, I'm just, grateful.
Because you were scared of what you was going to say?
Because I just didn't want to say the wrong thing for people to then, like...
latch on to.
For people to then think, oh, yeah, there she goes, So I just stayed silent and,
This is really deep. How can we change the narrative, Lola? Because if you're saying, and I totally agree with you, by the way, you're constantly second-guessing whether or not you should react or speak out about something, because people are going to say you've got a chip on your shoulder, or you're being angry, or so-and-so doesn't feel the same way you do. But then, of course, you can't live in isolation. You can't live feeling, you know, a fear to react. So how do we change the perception of these women? Us.
I think we have to work on educating people. So, like, naturally, I would say I'm a naturally reserved person. I'm quite calm, but there are times when I do get, you know, I can get angry, and I let people know that if I need to express myself, I will. There's some element of self-control that I do have, so I'm not going to start smashing things. But if someone is purposefully provoking me, I have to let them know that actually I don't like this. So in the past, I've told people that, look, I don't appreciate you calling me this, I don't really like it, but also to show them that I'm really serious about what I'm saying, I've had to change my tone. I've had to humble myself, literally, because if I really want to show some people how I really feel, then I know that out of ignorance, they will take that and think that's my character, and that's not who I am. So I've had to calm myself down and try to, you know, intelligently explain to them that this is what this stereotype is doing to me, this is what it's doing to my people, we don't appreciate it, and I'll keep saying it until they get it.
You've said that to somebody before?
I've said that to someone who, you know, a black man, actually, who was like, oh, you know, I don't understand. And he had a white girlfriend.
Oh.
And he was just like, oh, I don't understand why all these black girls are getting angry because I have a white girlfriend. I was like, no, I'm getting angry because you think that's the reason why I'm getting angry with you. I'm getting angry with you because you're disrespecting me and thinking that I don't believe I'm beautiful enough to secure my own man. If you like white women, that's fine. If I like white men, that's fine. But don't be saying that is a reason for why I'm angry. Who told you that?
Lola, you and your stories, girl. That's another good one. Well done for telling him and preaching. Gifty, great to have you on the show. Before we go, quickly tell us about what you're doing now, because I'm sure lots of our viewers want to know that.
So I have been, for the past 2 years, I've been in the studio working on my EP.
For 2 years you've been in the studio?
Yeah.
Sleeping, eating?
No, just making sure that, because I wanted to just make sure that the next time I do come out with music, people get to know the real me, and people actually get to understand who Gifty Louise is. So I've just been working on it to make sure it's just perfect. But yeah, my EP is out. It's out on pre-order right now, but it's officially out on the 24th on all music platforms.
I can't wait to listen. I can't wait to have you back. Congratulations on how far you've come.
Thank you so much.
And it's made you grow, and we want to hear more of the juicy stories, and I need Simon Cowell's number, boy. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my fantastic guests, Gifty Louise and Lola Ogunbadejo. Don't forget, Nonny is now online wherever you are in the world. Go to www.yangatv.com to check out every single episode. Join me next time for more Nonny Chat. Goodbye.